Hi, I'm Ems, aka on Dark and Wings. In this video I wanted to chat about the tabletop skirmish game famous by our swords. This is written by my friend Owen, and I have to give props to his wife Sue as well for playtesting and having a hand in this game. The game takes place in a dark fantasy world called Tua. It combines Gaelic Irish mythology with that of historical fictions based on the Roman Empire, Byzantine, Irish and Greek cultures. Players take on the role of mercenary warbands. You can go from simple bandit patrols to fighting demons and monsters and have a hand in the political landscape. This game can be cooperative, but in future expansions you'll be able to play solo. You can use melee swords and even magic. You can upgrade your weapons and armor and expand your warband as the game progresses, similar to games like Necromunda. The game works around a D12 system. I've yet to play a game of it, but I've looked through the rules and really like the aesthetic. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say it reminded me of Mordheim a little. And if you know me, you know I like to make pop culture references, so it kind of reminds me of the aesthetic of Dark Souls as well. So this game is agnostic, which means you can use whatever miniatures you want, as long as they're roughly 28mm. However, there are a couple of miniatures which have been released officially for the game. There are a limited run of these two guys, and I'll put in the link in the description below, along with where to purchase the rulebook. However, if you do purchase one of these miniatures, you do get the rules for free. So these were sculpted by a guy called Talus Miniatures and cast in resin, and they're beautiful and so detailed, and this guy definitely reminds me of something from like Dark Souls. You definitely see the Roman influences in this fella. I love that he's stood atop a pile of heads. So I painted both of these up off camera, but I'll go into a little bit of detail of what colours I used on the main parts. And I've also started using one of these rubber pop things to put paint in. I think they're awesome. So here is Horatio. This guy actually reminds me of Legate Lanius from Fallout New Vegas. There is a Fallout tabletop game with some Legion miniatures like this, and they'd be quite cool maybe to use in this game. I do think this is a fantastic sculpt, and it came out very well once I painted it up. To paint the gold armor, I used Royal Gold from Darkstar, which is one of my absolute favourite paints, and then some Reichland Flesh Wash, and in the deepest recesses I used some Wildwood Contrast paint, and then I dry brushed on some fine gold over the top for some highlights. That's one of my favourite ways to paint gold at the moment. Now moving on to the cape. So I wanted the red to really pop. So I painted with burnt red first of all from Pro Acryl, lovely paints. And I used some Chimera Colours Violet, love those paints, that went into the recesses. I used a lighter red from Pro Acryl on the highlights, and then Wild Rider Red for the final highlights. I'm also really impressed by those heads, the severed heads. The detail popped so much once they were painted up, and just the details on these models are crazy considering they've been hand sculpted. I also finished painting up the big guy. This is his name. I'm not even going to butcher how you pronounce it, even though I was sent by Owen how to actually pronounce it. Of course, I am using some more Darkstar Molten Metals here. So I started off with the blue steel, then dry brushed on some aged copper, and then lastly the highlights I used the pure copper. And then for the skin, I wanted something interesting that looked demonic and undead, so I used some Rakar Flesh from Games Workshop, and I used a scale 75 Indian Shadow, and I used this bluey white colour from AK Interactive for the final highlights. And then I went round and added some pops here and there, and added some blood for the guts. So here are the models all painted up. I think they look awesome. I love the sculpts and they're quite unique. I'll put in the link in the description below where you can get these in the real set, along with Owen's social media page. As always, thank you for watching. Remember to enjoy your hobbies for yourself, respect the people who enjoy them in their own ways, and at the end of the day, they're just war dollies. I'll see you in the next one.